When you disappear into what you're doing. The basketball player drives to the hoop. Time slows. The defenders seem to move in slow motion. Every move is effortless, automatic, inevitable. The ball leaves her hand and she knows, before it reaches the rim, that it will go in. Hours later, she will not remember the details. She was not there, not in the usual way. She was pure action, pure presence, with no separation between self and game. This is flow, the state of optimal experience that psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi named and spent a lifetime studying. Flow is the disappearance of the self in absorbed activity, the merging of action and awareness. It is one of the most rewarding states humans can enter, and one of the most revealing about the nature of consciousness. Welcome back to the Conscious Observer. Today we explore what happens when you vanish into what you are doing. Csikszentmihalyi identified several characteristics of flow. There is intense focus on the present activity, a narrowing of attention that excludes everything irrelevant. Action and awareness merge. You are not thinking about what you are doing, you are simply doing it. The sense of self disappears. The inner critic falls silent, and you are no longer watching yourself. Time distorts, usually passing quickly, though moments can also stretch. There is a sense of control, not anxious striving, but confident mastery. And the activity becomes autotelic, rewarding in itself, not for external goals. Flow is what people describe when they talk about being in the zone, fully absorbed, at one with their activity. Flow does not happen randomly. Certain conditions make it more likely. The activity must have clear goals and immediate feedback. You must know what you are trying to do and whether you are succeeding. The challenge must match your skills. If the challenge is too low, you get bored. If it is too high, you get anxious. Flow occurs in the sweet spot where challenge and skill are balanced, where the task fully engages you without overwhelming you. This explains why flow is common in sports, games, music, and crafts, activities with clear structure, feedback, and adjustable difficulty. But flow can occur anywhere, in conversation, work, writing, even mundane tasks when approached with attention. What happens in the brain during flow? Research suggests that flow involves a transient hypofrontality, a temporary reduction in activity in the prefrontal cortex. This region is associated with self awareness, inner speech, and executive control, the functions that constitute the ego. When prefrontal activity decreases, the sense of self diminishes. The inner critic quiets. Time perception shifts because the prefrontal cortex is involved in time estimation. Other research points to changes in neurotransmitters. Dopamine increases, enhancing focus and reward. Norepinephrine heightens arousal. Endorphins and anandamide may contribute to the pleasurable feelings. Flow is a neurochemical cocktail that reconfigures the brain for optimal performance. Flow challenges our ordinary sense of self. Usually, there is a watcher, a narrator, an I that observes and evaluates. In flow, this watcher disappears. You are still conscious, still aware, but the awareness is absorbed into the activity rather than standing apart from it. This selflessness is one of flow's most valued features. The ego is often a burden, generating anxiety, self doubt, and self criticism. In flow, the burden lifts. You are free from yourself. This connects to themes we have explored throughout the series. The self is not a fixed entity, but a process that can be altered. Flow shows that the absence of self can be liberating rather than annihilating. Flow is associated with peak performance. Athletes, musicians, and artists report doing their best work in flow states. When the self steps aside, action becomes more fluid, more responsive, less impeded by hesitation. The athlete stops thinking about mechanics and lets the body do what it is trained to do. The musician stops analyzing and lets the music flow through them. This suggests that ordinary self-consciousness can actually impair performance, that we sometimes do better by getting out of our own way. Of course, skill must be built first. Flow is not a shortcut, it is the payoff for training, the state where trained capacities express themselves fully. Some people experience flow more readily than others. Csikszentmihalyi called them autotelic personalities, people who do things for their own sake rather than for external rewards. Autotelic individuals are curious, persistent, open to new experiences, and relatively free of self-centeredness. They transform tedious tasks into engaging challenges. They find interest where others find boredom. This suggests that the capacity for flow can be cultivated. By approaching activities with curiosity, setting clear goals, and matching challenges to skills, Anyone can increase their flow experiences. The autotelic life is a life of engagement, absorption, and meaning, regardless of external circumstance. Flow experiences are intrinsically rewarding, but they also contribute to a meaningful life. Csikszentmihalyi found that people who experience frequent flow report higher life satisfaction. They feel more in control, more confident, more engaged with life. Flow provides moments when existence makes sense, when you are fully present, when the usual anxieties and regrets fade away. This connects to deeper questions about what makes life worth living. Meaning is not found in passive pleasure but in engaged activity. Flow is not hedonic relaxation. It is effortful engagement that paradoxically feels effortless. The good life might be the life rich in flow. Flow involves a paradox. The activity is often demanding, requiring high skill and intense engagement. Yet the experience is effortless. How can effort feel effortless? The answer might be that what feels effortful is usually the self, the ego, the part that monitors, doubts, and strains. When the self steps aside, effort continues, but the experience of effort disappears. You are still working, still engaged, but the work is flowing rather than being pushed. This effortless effort is prized in many traditions. Taoist Wu Wei, the actionless action, describes a similar state. The zone in athletics, the muse in art, the grace in religious practice, all point to moments when action flows through us rather than from us. Flow is the disappearance of the self into absorbed activity. It is one of the highest states humans can experience, prized by athletes, artists, and seekers across cultures. In flow, time bends, the ego fades, and action becomes effortless. This state reveals something profound about consciousness. The self that usually dominates experience is not essential. It can step aside, and when it does, experience becomes richer, not poorer. You are capable of states where the watcher vanishes and only the watching remains. These moments are gifts, but they can also be cultivated. Seek challenges that match your skills. Pursue activities for their own sake. Get lost in what you do. In our next episode, we explore near-death experiences and what they reveal about consciousness at the edge of existence. Until then, remember, sometimes the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself. Keep observing.